गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। अ वेरी वेलकम टू टू अ वेरी ब्रांड न्यू एपिसोड ऑफ पिंक टॉक पावर्ड बाय पिंकिश फाउंडेशन। और मैं हूं आपकी होस्ट और दोस्त नव्या ओम। हाल ही में पिंक टॉक ने अपने 100 एपिसोड्स कंप्लीट किए हैं और मैं आप सभी की बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ, आप सभी व्यूअर्स की जिन्होंने हमारे एफर्ट्स को इतना सराहाया, इतना सपोर्ट, इतना अप्रिसिएशन, इतना प्यार दिया। थैंक यू सो वेरी मच फॉर ऑल योर एनकरेजमेंट, फॉर ऑल योर बिलीव इन आवर वर्क। तहे दिल से आप सभी का बहुत शुक्रिया। आज की शाम काफ़ी खास है, काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण भी है, क्योंकि आज हमारे बीच मौजूद हैं एक बहुत खास शख्सियत। I'm indeed elated and delighted to have with us this gorgeous personality who has donned not just one, but several hats in the course of a professional life and has done so brilliantly. आज हमारे साथ हैं, today we have with us none other than Dr. Sujata Kirkar Shetty. Dr. Sujata Kirkar Shetty is a US trained biological scientist, an ICF certified life coach, and senior wellness consultant who has worked with several corporate organizations such as Infosys, Ernst & Young, TCS, to name a few. She is also the recipient of the highly acclaimed award for women, that is, She the People's 40 over 40 award. She has also been a regular columnist for Mint, the leading business newspaper of India, and has written various insightful articles on strengthening mental and physical health. Adding another feather in her cap, she has just recently compiled her vast knowledge and expertise of so many years and authored this amazing book called 99 Not Out, Your Guide to a Long and Healthy Life, which has been received very well by readers and reviewers alike. That is really amazing, man. Once again, we welcome you. It's really such a pleasure to have you with us for today's session. और वक्त ना ज़ाया करते हुए मैं आज की थीम इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहूँगी। बस अभी अभी मेरे जहन में एक ख्याल आया कि जितनी भी खुशियाँ हमारी लाइफ में होती है, जब हम उन्हें बांटते हैं तो वो खुशियाँ कभी कम नहीं होती बल्कि और बढ़ जाती हैं। हम जितनी पॉजिटिविटी, हैप्पीनेस, लाफ्टर लोगों के साथ बांटते हैं, उतनी ही वो हमारे निजी जीवन में और भी ज़्यादा बढ़ जाती है। Such is the positivity of happiness, such is the power of positivity, happiness, and laughter. Taking care of our mind, our body, and soul is essential towards ensuring healthy living. With so much of stress around us, especially during COVID times, it is of utmost importance to relax, rejuvenate, and to let go of all negativity. I remember even when we were children, there was this animated movie also based on a popular story for children called The Lion King. उसमें एक बहुत popular dialogue है called Hakuna Matata, which simply translates to "Don't worry, be happy." चिंता मत करो, बस जिंदगी में खुश रहो। समझ लीजिए कि आज की पिंक टॉक भी इसी पर बेस्ड है। So without further ado, let's explore these tangents and many more in today's special session, Laugh, Unwind, and Rewind with the one and only Dr. Sujata Kirkar Shetty.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lovely here, man. Same here. It's really a privilege. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Just a little reminder for our audience. Please आप अपने questions तैयार रखिएगा. Towards the end of the session, हम अपनी question answer round आपके लिए open करेंगे. Right. So, ma'am, before asking my first question, I would really love, and in fact, I believe all our audiences, all the viewers would like to know, what is your interpretation, your understanding of these three words, laugh, unwind, and rewind? As a wellness expert, how would you interpret these three words?
Sure. I think for me, laugh, unwind, rewind is about gratitude, about remembering all the good things that you have in your life, right? It's about remembering to spend time with family, because how do you unwind? You unwind when you spend time with those that love you and those you love. So that's the unwinding piece. the laughter itself, I think, is really important as well, right? So noticing the good things that happen in your life, enjoying them for what they are, even if they're the simple things, right? And then actually laughing, enjoying in a spirited way the funny experiences of life, creating that sense of humor in yourself, where you see the irony, where you see the jokes, and enjoy them with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, because that allows us to really get the most out of our lives. Everyone's life is difficult, everyone's life is challenges, particularly right now. But if we can take a moment to laugh, to unwind, and to rewind, and by rewinding, remembering what we are grateful for through the day, things are not going to seem so hard.
Right, absolutely correct. Thank you so much. Uh, so, from a very childhood, we have been hearing that laughter is the best medicine for health. Also, we see there's this laughter yoga where people laugh their hearts out voluntarily. So, which
Yeah.
means there must be some good effect, some good advantage of laughter on our lives. So, if you could just throw some light into this philosophy, how true this is that laughter is a good medicine for health.
Yeah.
Also, if there is a correlation between laughing, happiness, and our health.
Yes. So, Groucho Marx was a really famous American comedian, said, clown is like an aspirin, only it works twice as fast. So, and that is actually the truth of the matter, right? So, laughter is an analgesic, it is a pain reliever. And Norman Cousins, who was an American reporter, he wrote a book called The Anatomy of an Illness, where he talked about how he healed himself by using whatever the doctor prescribed. So it's not like he went off track. He had a painful, debilitating disease, and he listened to what the doctor said. But he also added a very important component that he discovered by adding it, and that was laughter. He said, I made the joyous discovery that 10 minutes of genuine belly laughter had an anesthetic effect that would give me at least 2 hours of pain free sleep. And when the pain free experience wore off, he would just watch another movie. That was funny. And that was the way that he incorporated laughter into his life. The way that he did it was by watching funny films, right? And now we know, research has shown us that endorphins are released when we laugh, and endorphins are pain relieving. In fact, the opioid medications that people sometimes have to take, when they have really severe pain, work in exactly the same way as these endorphins that are naturally released when we laugh. At a cellular level, too, laughter is very powerful. So, research shows us that NK cells, which are a particular component of your immune system, they can recognize your cancer cells better than other immune cells, because cancer cells have an ability to evade the immune system. That's how they work. That's how they manage to do their ugly work. But what NK cells can do is they can still smell them out and kill them. Now, their activity increases when we laugh more. So we're actually improving our cancer fighting ability when we laugh more. And when I interviewed the person who started, laughter yoga in India, his name is Madan Kataria. I'm sure there are other people who started it too, but he's one of the founders. And he was telling me that he himself and the people who are proponents of laughter yoga, or regular practitioners rather of laughter yoga, have found that their immune system has really gotten strengthened. And that kind of makes sense, because laughter is also stress relieving, and stress is immunosuppressive. So if you can find something that actually helps you relieve your stress, then why not do it, right? And it's one of the most enjoyable ways to relieve your stress. So the one thing that me and my son, my 12-year-old, do on a regular basis, and this is not, perhaps it's based on my research, but it's just something that we really enjoy, is we watch a 20-minute clip of his favorite TV show, at least that much, if not more, depending on how much time we both have. And we laugh and we laugh, and it's always something, just fun, right? Some Disney show that he enjoys. But the whole process of it enlivens us. We're bonding together, we're laughing together, and we're spending time. At the same time, we feel energized at the end of it. we feel like we can, get back to whatever it is that we need to do next. So it's important to laugh, and it's also important to laugh with somebody. So, whether it's with your friends, have a jokeathon where you tell each other jokes. My family, loves jokes, so we do that. We do that often. Like I said, watch a funny film with a friend, and even if you can't be together because of the pandemic, you can certainly have your phones on and you can, talk to each other through the movie. And of course, then there's laughter yoga, which is very powerful. I haven't tried it myself, but it does work. It works in exactly the same way as spontaneous laughter does. It looks funny if you've ever seen anyone do it. There's a group that does it in the park that I walk at every morning. They used to do it. Now, of course, they've stopped. And I just always wondered, does it work? Because it looks artificial. But the physical act of doing it makes it spontaneous. And as you know, it's infectious. You see someone laughing spontaneously and with joy, you end up doing the same thing, even though you don't know what they're laughing about. So there is something special about it. Yeah, highly recommend it.
Right. Also, does it also influence our work productivity? I mean, when we are happy, when we are not stressed, does it influence our work productivity and
Oh,
enhance it?
absolutely. Absolutely. So anything that reduces your stress improves your cognitive ability, because stress is your mind and body in a fight or flight state where you are not going to be able to process information in the same way. You're in a different mode. It's like you've just seen a lion, right? All you're supposed to do is run as fast as you can, quickly figure things out for yourself. Your digestion slows down because that's not important to your body in moments of stress. And that's what stress was supposed to be, like a really acute situation that you needed to literally fight off or run away from. Now, what's happened is that heavy traffic, the loss of a job, your children, being difficult, which of course they've been since millennia, but many other things that we think of when we associate what we associate with modern life and its stresses cause not only acute stress, but it becomes chronic. So it's almost like you're permanently in a state of, not almost like, it is like you're permanently in a state of fight or flight. And that's really not good for your mind or your body. It impacts your, like I said, your digestion, your ability to sleep. It impacts your food intake. In fact, research has shown us that you end up eating more, right, when you're stressed. And I bet everyone who's listening knows what it's like to stress eat. When you are very stressed, you suddenly, those chocolates in your fridge are even more enticing than they were earlier, right? And your ability to control yourself is diminished. So yeah, totally.
Absolutely, and I hope people would understand this message, and they'll be happy. They'll spend time laughing with their family members, particularly their friends or people they're close to. But it's really important to laugh once in a while. Also, मैम, these days हम ये देखते हैं कि also because of COVID, work from home का concept आ गया है, जिसकी वजह से sleep patterns बहुत erratic हो गए हैं, and without understanding the repercussions of what it's going to have on our long-term health, people are still indulging in bad sleeping habits, probably, or not good patterns of sleep. So, how important do you think is it to relax, sit back, rejuvenate, and have a good sleep?
Oh, good sleep is one of the pillars of health, right? With nutrition and exercise, if you think of those two as the others, then sleep is quintessential. And you just have to think a little bit about the fact that it's a conserved behavior across the animal kingdom. Every animal sleeps. So the notion that we can do with less or not at all makes no sense. And, I can give you 10 reasons why you need to fix your sleep starting tonight. The first one, it's a source of increased weight gain. None of us want to increase our weight. And it's definitely going to cause increased weight gain if you're not getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Second, as I just mentioned, there's an issue with appetite. If you don't sleep enough or if you're too stressed, and the two go together, right? So if you don't get enough sleep, you're also likely to be more stressed the next day. And if you are too stressed, you're not going to be able to sleep. but it also impacts your appetite like stress. So it makes you want to eat more. When you get a good night's rest, you're able to solve problems more easily the next day. Your memory is far better. Your athletic performance and physical performance is also impacted with sleep. I recently did a 40-day physical and nutritional challenge where every subsequent day, the amount of physical effort that I had to put in increased. And I realized that the days that I didn't sleep well, I couldn't do it as well. The days that I slept well, I was fine. So often we think we're not as fit as we are because we're not getting enough sleep. So it's very, very important to keep that in mind. Sleep deprivation. This is actually quite startling. That even just 6 days of sleep deprivation causes a pre-diabetic state in adults. Just 6 days. So you can imagine what's going to happen over an extended period of time. You need it for your immune system. We all know this. If you're not getting enough sleep soon enough, we end up falling sick. We end up getting an infection, particularly important in pandemic times, to be cognizant of this and to really make sleep a priority, right? And between 11 and 5, getting that sleep is critical because your body needs it precisely in those hours. I'm not saying an afternoon nap isn't good for you. It is. It can be rejuvenating and there's no harm in it. But sleeping between 11 and 5 is the time that your body naturally expects it. And if you don't do it then there are repercussions. You end up aging faster. Sleep deprivation also reduces your social skills. It reduces your emotional balance, as in you are more likely to get irritable if you haven't gotten enough sleep. You are less likely to pick up the nuances in conversation, in your relationships. So your relationships will be impacted if you're not getting enough sleep. So it's really, it's very, very powerful. And to give it its due, I mean, there's a reason why we spend a third of our lives asleep. And it's very important to keep that in mind.
Right. Also, ma'am, stress is a big part of people's life these days, especially because of COVID, work from home. Children are having online classes, and particularly women, working women, they have to work outside, and when they're back at home, they have to take care of household chores as well. So, if you could quickly tell us that how stress suppresses our immunity, or what effect does it have on our immune system?
Sure. So there's no doubt that stress impacts our immune system and impacts it in a way that is debilitating. There's absolutely no doubt, right? One of the things it does is that it actually reduces the number of immune cells in our body. So our body's ability to fight infection is reduced in a numerical way. The other way that it causes a problem for us is that it makes us more susceptible to inflammation. In fact, it increases the inflammation in our bodies, making us more susceptible to complications when we have certain diseases. And it also predisposes us to certain diseases because inflammation is a very powerful process that is linked or associated with just about every disease known to man. It's an important part of our healing for sure. When we get injured, it plays a role, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't be biologically conserved. But it is dangerous when we are creating it within ourselves for no reason. And that's what happens with stress. Now, the other problem with stress is that to calm ourselves down, we end up engaging in behaviors that are not terribly healthy. Whether it's drinking, right? Alcohol is terrible for your mind and body. It's actually depressive as far as the mind is concerned. And for the body, I could go on and on about its deleterious impact. So, but that's what people do, right? They say, I'll have a drink to calm myself down. Or they start to smoke, or if they smoke more. And then, of course, we are stress eating. People end up eating more because they're under a lot of stress. They don't even realize it, but they just keep consuming because for us, food is comfort, right? We first got it from our mothers. So there's a huge sort of a comfort component to food. And then we sort of rely on that in periods of stress. And when it comes to diseases, anything from cardiovascular heart disease to cancer to diabetes, to infections. This have been all associated with stress. So what can we do about it? Now that we've talked about the fact that it is, it is so toxic to to us, and we do have to deal with some stress. We can't go through life expecting to have no stress. That's also not realistic. In fact, having some amounts of stress every day is good for us, as long as we're able to go from flight to rest and digest, right? So that ability to go back and forth is very important. And there are ways in which you can work on that ability, so that even when there are periods of stress, your body has the ability to go back to a relaxed mode, go back to a state that is healing and rejuvenating for your body. The first thing, and you all already know this, is a practice of yoga, right? Any mind body practice. So, yoga, Tai Chi, great for you. Please practice it. And Surya Namaskars are like the most comprehensive asana practice you can find. And when I say yoga, I was talking about asanas. Of course, what logically follows after those asanas is the practice of pranayam or breathing exercises. Very important as well. If you do 30 minutes of asanas followed by 15 minutes of breathing exercises, you're going to be in a very different place as far as managing your stress is concerned. The other thing, of course, is laughing more. Great stress reliever. We've already talked about it. And then being more positive, right? I'm not talking about toxic positivity, but I'm talking about being kinder. Kindness to other people without any expectation lifts our spirits. And when our spirits are lifted, when our mood is improved, then we can look at the problem at hand and realize it's not as bad as we thought it was, right? We're able to get a different perspective on it. We don't feel as disempowered. We're able to see that we have choices in our lives. And we're going to brood less and be focused on solving those problems. So these are some of the ways we can work on relieving our stress. And then please find ways of socializing, particularly during these times, right? With people who are positive, who love you, who you love. Please don't socialize with people who are negative, and please don't watch news and TV shows that are disturbing. This is really not the time. It's never a good time to be doing it, but this is particularly not a great time to be engaging. Make us feel negative. So these are some of the ways we can go about handling it.
Right. Uh, Also, ma'am, in your recently published, much celebrated book, 99 Not Out, you have discussed about these fundamentals of wellness. Well, I'd be really happy if you could let all of us know and elaborate some more on what are these fundamentals of wellness.
Sure. So the pandemic has really created a warlike situation, right? We're all in the same storm, but we're in different boats. And the only way through it, I believe, is to see the opportunity for self-growth that lies in it. There is an opportunity here for us to fortify our mental resilience, to fortify our physical resilience, and there are well-researched tools for us to get there. Before we get into it, though, I want to share with you a poem that came to my mind, right, when I was thinking about this talk. And it comes from a book called We're Going on a Bear Hunt. It's a 1989 book for children, actually, written by Michael Rosen. And it's a poem about a family that crosses various hurdles, various obstacles to get back home. And it goes like this. So before each obstacle, the children chant a refrain. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. And then when we're crossing the obstacle, whether it is a storm or it is, a hurricane or something equally scary, we can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we have to go through it. And I think this is what we have to imbibe that we have to go through this. There is no way around it. We can't avoid it. We can't pretend that it doesn't exist, and it's going to possibly exist for a while. The situation hasn't sorted itself out in the last 18 months, and it doesn't look like it's likely to, at least for the next 6 months. So, what does it mean to go through it, right? I wrote several articles in the Mint about this. Then the book, of course, talks about this at length, the 29 tools that I discuss in the book. And I'm going to share some of them with you, right? So the first resilience building tool that I'm going to talk to you about is mindset. This is a tool that Carol Dweck, who's a famous psychologist, has spent many, many years researching. And before we get into the right mindset, let's talk about what a mindset is. It's basically the belief that you hold, right? Simple. And a belief is something in your mind. So, and you can change your mind, right? So mindset then is a belief that you hold about yourself. And we just need to see what kind of mindset we inhabit. There are primarily two in this context, and figure out which one that we really want to have. So the first one is a fixed mindset. And a fixed mindset is one where you believe that your talents and your abilities are limited, where your situation is limited, where you don't think you can do very much to change. It's a very stressful mindset to have, as you can imagine, because everything is black and white. Can't possibly fail. You can't possibly do anything wrong. You can't even look at your faults, because that would mean that, that's the end, because you can't do anything about them. And people who have fixed mindsets tend to be more stressed, tend to not be able to adopt healthful behaviors, right? Because they think they can't. They don't think they can change. They think this is it. There's nothing that's going to make any difference, no matter what they do. So then what is the mindset to adopt? The mindset to adopt is a growth mindset, where you believe that you can change, you can learn, you can grow. And it's important to talk about mindsets first, because it really is the foundation of being able to do self-work, right? Whether it's building mental resilience or physical resilience, you can only do it if you believe you're going to get better. Otherwise, what's the point? Might as well sit on the couch, watch Netflix all day, or watch it when you get back home from work. Right? No point in working on yourself. But the growth mindset is the mindset that we need to work with, because that's what makes us resilient. And that is the truth of the matter. And we're all able to grow, learn, become better at various skills. We've all done it through our lives. So why should we believe that our health, our mental health, our physical health is any different? And then when we believe that failure isn't a defining moment, but it's something that we have to is a problem to solve, then we look at life very differently, right? So it's not about not being disappointed or not having the capacity to be hurt, but it's about realizing that there are setbacks in everyone's lives, and they're an opportunity for growth, not an opportunity for us to sit and feel sorry for ourselves beyond a point. Yes, we're all allowed to cry, but we eventually have to get up and move forward. So that's very, very important, right? Having a growth mindset in life. The second piece is compassion and self-compassion. So the Dalai Lama says, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. So both ways, compassion is very important. And compassion just means recognizing other people's, the difficulties in other people's lives, and being willing to relieve them in whichever way you can. And research shows us that people who cultivate compassion have reduced anxiety, are calmer, are able to handle their life events better. But compassion can only work if you are self-compassionate. So the kindness you extend to others must extend to you as well. So it's very important to, if there's a critical voice, because we end up being the harshest judges of ourselves. We end up being the toughest on ourselves. And it's very important to hear that voice and negate it, because it's not telling the truth. Just as you wouldn't want that voice to talk to your best friend, you shouldn't want that voice to talk to you either. So self-compassion must be cultivated with compassion, and can be a really powerful tool when it comes to mental resilience. The third resilience tool that I'm going to talk to you about, and I'm giving you a lot of information today. So please choose what works for you, what resonates with you in this talk, and work on that, because they're all interrelated. And you work on one, you'll start to work on the others, and the rest will follow. The third piece is gratitude, very important, right? It means being genuinely appreciative for whatever it is that we receive, whether it is something like a bouquet of flowers, or the ruby red sunset that we experience during the monsoons, or the butterfly that you noticed in your balcony. It could be anything, right? Or the smile that you got from a baby. Noticing those things is very, very important. There's a beautiful phrase that I remind myself of by a French novelist. He said, "Some people grumble that roses have thorns. I'm grateful that thorns have roses," right? And I think this is the time, right, where we're seeing so many thorns. Let's look for those roses. Let's appreciate them, whether it's the people in our lives, or the yummy coffee that you just bought, or the fact that you had a good night's rest, right? Even the little things matter. That's the beauty about gratitude. And it can really change the way you experience your day when you choose to notice things that you can be grateful for. So, how can you inculcate more gratitude? Start a gratitude journal. It can be a simple notebook. I was looking for one on my desk, but a very simple notebook. At the end of each day, write 5 things that you're grateful for. Notice the other challenges in your life that you have faced and been able to overcome. That'll give you gratitude as well. Um, and and learn to notice the little things, right? Like I really enjoyed Navia's kind voice today. I noticed her kindness in the way that she spoke, and that made me happy, right? Just listening to it. So there's so much that we can notice if we just allow ourselves to be open to what's happening around us without judgment, right? The fourth one is reasonable altruism. So altruism is quite simple. It means helping other people without any expectation, right? If you look at how your great grandparents were or your grandparents were, you'll immediately know what I'm talking about. And when we are doing that, we forget about our own problems. When we are looking after others, we don't think about ourselves. Kindness is known to work to improve your mental health. In fact, it is when you engage in helpful behaviors and kind behaviors, you help your mental health more than the person who's being helped. Research shows us this. So being kind to others is really being kind to yourself, right? The important piece, though, about this is reasonable. So, this is why I call it reasonable altruism. So, don't allow yourself to be overexhausted, don't allow yourself to get burnt out. And sometimes it can't be avoided, right? Right. These days, we're playing caregiver to multiple, generations. If you're of the generation that I am, when for all those of us who are in our 40s, we have aging parents, we have young children. So, yes, some days can be very, very challenging where we're playing this caregiving role on multiple fronts. But it's important to nourish yourself, it's important to look after yourself, it's important to treat yourself with gentleness as you're doing these things. And if you know caregivers, please reach out to them. Often when people are sick, inquire about them, but we don't inquire about the people who are looking after them. And we just have to spend a little time thinking to realize that, gosh, they must be dealing with so much right now. And they get nothing. Nobody asks about them, right? So I make it a point to always ask about the caregivers, because they're the ones who are supporting the entire process, making sure this person, whoever it is unwell, right? So that's important. Then now I'm just going to talk to you about a bunch of habits, right, that you can really work on, because remember that it's what we repeatedly do that counts, right? Aristotle said this: we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So learn to incorporate in a very, very conscious way, deliberate way, habits that are going to work for you. Okay. The first one again is about mind body practices because you end up toning your vagal nerve. And your vagal nerve is the physiological expression of your mind body connection. It starts at your brainstem and goes all around your organs and goes back. Critical to keep it toned. Mind body practices do the job. So does singing. So does taking a cold shower. You try that tonight. It's unusually calming. Don't do it in the night though. Do it in the morning. In the night, it's better to have a warm shower because it relaxes your blood vessels and calms your muscles so you can go to sleep easier. Um, and the second habit I wanted to talk to you about is NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's another chapter in my book. Um, don't worry about the word or the acronym, but just think it means moving more, right? Our bodies are constantly in motion. Inside, our hearts are pumping, our lungs are contracting and expanding, the blood is coursing through our veins. We're also meant to be doing the same on the outside. We're meant to work our bodies, move our bodies. And the Indian urban lifestyle, particularly if you're well to do, means people are looking after your needs. So you don't need to move, but which is why it becomes important that you move more. I mean, to give you an example, I'm standing and doing this talk. And the reason is that I don't want to be sitting. I sit enough in the day. So I would rather stand when I get the opportunity. I take my telephone calls and I stand and I pace. These things have to be done consciously because otherwise we'll all sit. You know, it's just more comfortable to be sitting, isn't it? So you have to do this in a conscious manner and make it a practice because sitting is really not good for you long term. So every 45 minutes, make sure you get up, move a little bit, do walking meetings if you're meeting people, if you're able to meet people instead of sitting meetings, or standing meetings certainly instead. Take the stairs as often as you can. Walk around the house if you are homebound, but find a way to move. Your body needs it. This is apart from exercise. Okay. And the third habit I want to talk to you about is exercise. We all know enough about it. I'm not going to get into it too much. Find an activity that you enjoy. Try to do it outdoors because being around trees is really healthy for you. It's also a great way to relieve stress, by the way. To go back to that question about stress, spending time outdoors is naturally stress relieving. To be in contact with nature is naturally stress relieving for us. We were meant to spend time in nature. So please do that. And the fourth habit that I want to talk to you about is your nutrition, right? Ideally, eat simple home cooked food, eat locally, eat seasonally. We're all now at the habit of eating all kinds of cuisines, right? We all do it. But find a way to keep things simple most of the time, right? So less oil, nothing fried, sugar is ideally best avoided. And I'm saying this to you on Ganesh Chaturthi day when I have had quite a few modaks, so I'm certainly not perfect. But the idea is to be cognizant, right? So I don't eat sugar otherwise. But today my children were shocked. They said, Mama, we've never seen you like this. But I love my modaks. You can't take modaks away from a Maharashtrian girl. So that's that, right? We all have our special things that we enjoy. So enjoy those, but eliminate sugar from your life. Otherwise, it is hugely inflammatory for your body. It makes you tired after a while. You're not going to be able to exercise in the way that you are used to if you eat too much sugar. Just like with sleep, sugar is toxic as far as your physical health is concerned, and your physical ability to exercise and to really work out is concerned. Include more probiotics in your diet, right? You all know this. It's a good reminder. Be mindful of what you're eating. So when you're eating, do not have the TV on, or don't watch movies while you're eating because you're sure to eat more because you're not being mindful. Try to avoid fighting at the dining table. Not great for your digestion. Keep the fights, the tears, aside when you're eating, or just park the idea till later, but not at the dining table. And when it comes to supplements, I don't want to not talk about them. They're very, very important, particularly vitamin D and vitamin B12, because we tend to be deficient in both. Vitamin B12 for vegetarians and anyone over the age of 50. Vitamin D, just all of us in general, particularly in the winter months, for sure. Some of us can also have iron deficiencies and other deficiencies. Of course, you have to do a blood test before you take a supplement and talk to your GP as well. But please do a blood test at least once a year for both of these markers. Yeah. And with that, I think, covered, because it's been fairly comprehensive. I've given you lots of information. So, like I said, choose one thing and work on it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This was really insightful. I think we'll quickly take up some questions from the viewers. So we have these two similar questions from निशा जी और टीना जी के दो सवाल हैं. कुछ सिमिलर सवाल हैं कि आजकल की लाइफ में इतना स्ट्रेस आ गया है, lives have become busy. So how do we still learn how to laugh in this stressful life, and when we've become so busy? How do we still keep laughing?
So we have to instigate that laughter. No, to watch something funny, and it may not happen right away, right? But if you set aside some time to watch something funny every now and, if you set aside a time every day, at some point in time it'll click, and before you know it, you are laughing. And do it with your family if possible, do it with your friends if possible, but otherwise, just, there are tons of jokes, there are tons of tweets that are funny. In fact, on WhatsApp we get lots of jokes these days. So enjoy them. That's the point, right? Don't allow the mind to immediately get back to what it was worried about, but let go for that moment. It's about dropping the baggage for that moment, and just enjoying what it is that you're experiencing just for that moment. You'll be able to do it. Just give it a shot. Give it a shot this evening and see how it works.
Right. I think you rightly said it's not an overnight process. You'll have to inculcate things on your own, and then I think you will see a change. मीना जी का एक सवाल है. According to you, what kind of role does social media plays in our life? Does it give us stress, or does it give us happiness? And how can we remove such negativity from our mind?
I think, you've answered this question yourself, Meena, when you call it negative, right? Research shows that people who get on Facebook are less happy once they've gotten on Facebook than they were before, because they see the lives of, they see only the good things in everyone's lives. It's like that, the whole part off, and you're not seeing the eaten part. You're only seeing the good stuff. But even as adults, we forget that, and it doesn't help to make us happy when we're sitting in the middle of like 5 things that we're having to tackle, and life is difficult. So when we have free time, social media is not something you engage in for fun. Social media is a tool that you use for your work, right? You have something to say, you say it and you leave it. There's certain people that you follow because they engage your mind in a way that is healthy for you. You choose to follow them, but that's it. You do not spend time on social media because you have time to kill. It's much better to do something that is good for you, because social media is like junk food, right? A little bit, a few chips here and there won't matter. But if you're going to end up eating a whole bag of chips and then wonder why it made you feel sick, no surprise. Now, just like a bag of chips, social media is designed to be addictive. They have spent a lot of time trying to figure out a way to keep you on it. So I have deleted the apps off my phone. If I need to get on any of these apps, I have to make an effort. And I do need to do that for my work sometimes. But then it's like a very regulated thing. I get on and I get off, because the moment I start to scroll, it's like junk food for my mind. It does nothing for me. If it's part of your job and you have to do it, if you're a journalist or a writer or you're a personality that needs to put things out there, then by means do it. But do it very with a very clear goal in mind of why it is that you're doing it, and get off it as soon as you're done with what you're supposed to be doing. Because otherwise, it's just toxic. It's not good for you, and it's particularly harmful for teenagers.
There's another question जो अंजलि जी की तरफ से है. वो ये पूछते हैं कि especially COVID times में we don't have any exposure to external environment and we are not able to meet the people, our close people with whom we can share laughter or maybe moments of happiness. So how could we explore what makes us happy during this time, or what are the sources of laughter during the times when we are kind of inside our homes and we can't step out?
Yeah, so have like Zoom parties, right? My father has a Wednesday Zoom call with his buddies, and they all enjoy their glass of whatever it is that they're drinking, and they chat, and it's every Wednesday. So it's important for it to be regular, not a once in a while thing, and it's important that you do it with the people that you like and that you enjoy spending time with. Um, if they're old friends, if it's family, then laughter will naturally happen, right? After a while, somebody will crack a joke, somebody will say something that amuses you. Like I said, my son and I watch something funny together every day because we both enjoy laughing. We know it helps us, right? So we do it. Um, you have to do it in a very conscious and deliberate way. That is the thing about why these habits are going to make you resilient, because you will have chosen to do these things and you will do them repeatedly, and you will find that you will be able to handle what happens through your day that much better. So just start doing it, and if nobody else is doing it, you do it with your family. You be the organizer and tell yourself, this is the day, this is the time that works for me. Get your friends or your family together and they'll be happy. Everybody's waiting for somebody else to do it, so you do it. You start the
Right.
process off and keep it going, and then you'll see the magic yourself.
Absolutely, well said, ma'am. There's another interesting question जो रिया जी की तरफ से आया है. Why do we cry when we're laughing so hard? Like while laughing, we sometimes have tears in our eyes.
Totally, yeah. um, I don't know. I'm happy to do the research and send the answer to Navya, but I don't really know. It's quite interesting, isn't it? That when you are so amused, you end up crying.
Uh, सीमा जी का एक क्वेश्चन है. There are some people who never laugh, they never smile, and instead they fill the life of others around them with negativity and sadness. How could we change those people or help them change themselves?
Stay away from them, if possible. If they are your family members, then pray for them, because they are incredibly unhappy, and have compassion for them. But do distance yourself from them, because this is not, if possible, again. And if they are like that repeatedly, chances are that they're not mentally well, they need help, and you may need to take them to a psychologist, a counselor for support.
There's another question by Miss Tina Gupta. When we are sick and we go to the doctor, he always says the same thing: "You'll be fine, nothing to worry, and just try to be happy." And of course, laughter is the best medicine. But sometimes the circumstances around us they become such that we're not able to keep happy in those times. And could we do something in such a situation?
Yeah, we just talked about all the other things, right? So make sure you get enough sleep, make sure your nutrition is sorted, make sure you're exercising. You're going to have to push yourself. This is, life was never meant to be easy. We fall into the trap of thinking that we're meant to have it easy. It was not meant to be easy, and I know that this is a particularly difficult time for most of us. This is the hardest time we've had in our lives, and I'm not trying to to be unaware of that and fully aware of that. But let's look at the roses. Let's pick ourselves up. Let's also recognize that things are going to get better. Enjoy the good times when they come, right? We need to be able to enjoy the happinesses that are going to come our way too, because those are going to come too. Things, things do get better. That's life. This too shall pass. And when it passes, you want to be in the best possible shape, physically and mentally, to enjoy the roses when they bloom. Even if they're few and far between right now, there will be more, because there were more in the past.
There's another question by Riya Singh Verma. Is it true that laughing increases our lifespan?
I don't think there's research to show that to us categorically, but it'll certainly improve the quality of the life that you do have, right? So it may not add life to your years. It may not add years to your life, but it'll certainly add life to your years.
That's amazing. I think we've mostly covered all of the questions. I think, yes. So I think we'll quickly wind this up. Before this, I'd really like to thank Dr. Sujata Kirkar Shetty for joining us for today's special session. And personally, I believe this was a very enriching session, and I believe and also trust that it has definitely broadened our horizons of our understanding of wellness and good health in our life. Again, thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing our time from a hectic schedule and sharing your invaluable insights. I believe this is some brilliant work that you are doing in the field of holistic wellness, since it brings so much of a difference in people's life, and a difference that is especially needed during these uncertain times. And as a small token of gratitude, as a small token of appreciation and also memories, we would love to present you with a certificate from Pinkish Foundation. And really, thank you so much for this great collaboration.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me. And I was supposed to choose the winner of the Q&A, right? So I love the question about why does laughter bring tears?
Okay, I think that was Riya Singh Verma ji ka, I think, question tha. That was really an interesting question. So congratulations, Riya ji. Yours is the best question for today's session. I would also request our backing team to please, or Mr. India to please show who is the lucky draw winner for today's session. So if you could please have today's winner. Okay. Okay. Sarita Rawat ji is the winner. आपको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to all the lucky winners, even the one who won the best question. और इसी के साथ साथ thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful session and sharing your amazing insights. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सभी viewers को भी हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. मुलाकात होगी कल फिर इसी जगह इसी वक्त पर, only on PinkTalk. Till then, don't forget to laugh, unwind and rewind. शुक्रिया.